All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. Karen Gaborik, Superintendent. Welcome to Facebook Live. And I have a guest today. I'm so excited. So we have Erin Morotti here. Erin is one of our newest board members and has been with us almost 4 months now. So she graciously agreed to join us today, and I just thought it'd be great. If you have any questions for Erin, be sure to send those, and we'll try to address them while you're here. But I have a couple questions for her that I thought I would ask, and just, so far, what's your favorite part about serving on the board? What do you think?
There are so many things, too many to count. I think the thing that I find most rewarding is collaborating. The collaboration with the community, with the staff here at the district, with the assembly, just that human connection and getting out there and getting to meet so many amazing people. That's definitely my favorite part.
That's awesome. Yeah, sort of that bridge building, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you connect with so many different entities and people, and great. I love that.
Yeah.
So, looking forward just to even just the short term, the rest of this school year. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to this school year?
I come from a financial background, so I'm most looking forward to this budget season. It's going to be a tough one, but that's what I love to do. So that's the most immediate thing that I'm looking forward to. I'll be going down to Juneau this weekend to talk to them about budgets and the need for the financing and
funding
in our school district. So definitely the budget season, and then followed by the strategic planning to hear what the community wants and make sure that that's implemented in our planning.
Yeah, I love when we have people on the board who are from a business background, or you're from a nonprofit background, right? Or probably even more than that. But it just it's when you have to dig into the numbers, and the budget books are so thick and
377
right?
pages.
Stephen knows how many pages it is, but it's just great to be able to have those conversations. And I know Erin's been in talking with Andy DeGraw, our Chief Operations Officer, and is really digging in. Andrew on the budget committee. Right. So so I always appreciate that, because some people it's just it's not their interest or their strength. They're really want to be sure we have programs for kids, but there's always money behind.
Where does that come from?
Yeah, just gotta make sure. So
I
like that, and then going to Juneau to advocate too. So that's with the School Boards Association, right?
Yeah, that's this weekend. A few of us school board members will be in Juneau to meet with the Alaska School Board Association, and then also with legislatures to. Advocate for this district.
Yeah, and just in front of Governor Dunleavy releasing his budget. So you guys can get a few words in there. So that'll be
hopefully,
so definitely one thing I also appreciate about this board this year is they're making more trips down to Juneau, and so I think that's great. And I think probably it's going to be a good session for us to to sort of keep the pressure on and let people know.
Gotta raise our voices.
So let me just ask you long term too. So the terms are 3 years, right? So any long term goals that you have that even when you were running your campaign, kind of what you were thinking about?
Oh yeah. So I come from a nonprofit, like you said, background, a lot of social service work, and it is my passion to create a safe, emotionally and physically environment for our kids, and so that has been absolutely my passion from the very beginning. And I've made a promise, and I'm going to keep it, to continue the growth in what the school district is doing. You guys have already established so many good social and emotional supports, and I just want to expand them as financially possible, right?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that too, because of course we talk about the connections that teachers have in the classroom, right? And so you got to keep an eye on class size, but there's all of these other supports that we need to provide to make sure that kids are taken care of, right? And kids come to us the whole spectrum. Some of them walk in the door ready to learn, they're ready to go, and others you just kind of got to wrap services around and make sure that they get those same opportunities. So I'm excited to have those conversations. We'll talk about strategic planning in a couple of minutes too when we come up. So you said social emotional. Anything specific like during strategic planning? Like, is there like a specific recommendation you see yourself?
Well, there will be. They've already started it last weekend. The school district really gave great opportunities for staff to learn more about adverse childhood experiences. I'd love to see grants come in for more funding for the social service managers, specifically. Professional development opportunities around social and emotional learning, curriculum expansion, just anything that we can get our hands on to really make a difference in these kids' lives.
Right, and one thing I was thinking that you and I had talked about was sometimes there's federal funds, and so we can get at that training at specific schools, but you wanting to see it across the district, right?
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
you know, schools that aren't Title I necessarily, but you know, again, they need this training. They need to understand what families and kids are going through, and then how to respond and support.
Right.
So that would be great. Yeah, federal grants, you know, can often get us started, and then we've got to take it the rest of the way. So
Yeah, more funding.
yeah, yeah. So, anything you'd like to share, just you know, with folks on Facebook and just in general?
I just I appreciate the general community for this position and for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate the work that the staff here at the school district has provided. It's been a humbling and honor to be here. So I just thank you all, and never hesitate to reach out. I'm always here to talk to.
Great, and school board members are very accessible. You can there's a school board address that you can send email to. They're each on the school district website. There's a school board page, and there's contact information for every school board member. So you know, if you have some of the same interests that Erin does, you could email her and say, hey, what about this, and you know, create those bridges and those connections. So well, I'm looking forward to the next 2.5 years. Yeah, I think it'll be great. So
It'll be a fun time.
Okay, so I'm going to switch. We're going to talk about proposed budget today. We'll talk about that calendar draft again, school lottery, strategic planning. We'll touch on some of those things. So I just want to give the highlights of budget. So I gave a report to the board at the Tuesday regular meeting, and I know folks last week were interested to know sort of what the details of that budget were. So I'll just talk about the program highlights. One thing that I think is critical for people to know is I have not proposed a change in target class size. So often when we think of cuts, it's like, oh, that class size is going up, right? So I'm proposing a status quo class size. So I'm really in this budget trying to just maintain the services that we have for kids. And so we know we need more, and you know, I think we'll try to, you know, work those in as we can, but at least trying to maintain status quo. So there are some teacher reductions, and I think I mentioned this last time too. Just remember our enrollment, you know, has been going down. So we have a downward trend. So we always have to adjust our staffing, our teacher staffing, based on how many kids are in each school. So when you look district-wide, there'll be 13 teachers reductions at elementary just based on enrollment, and those principals know that. They've been given their staffing sheets, so they're working on that right now. And then we have a charter school opening, so Discovery Peak in North Pole, and yeah, so that's kind of exciting. Your first charter school to see opened.
Yeah, and it's in North Pole, which is amazing. That community absolutely needs
get an option.
Yeah, an opportunity. So,
and I think with the F-35s coming, it'll be really helpful to us. If you know, it's anticipated, of course, all of the conversation that you know, a lot of people, you know, if they're going to work on Eielson Air Force Base, it's easier if they live in North Pole and if they have kids. Yeah, so. Yeah. Anyway, that being said, I'm moving some teachers from other schools to Discovery Peak, and then we'll kind of sort all that out after they have their lottery. But their target population is 200, so about 200 kids will probably mostly come from the North Pole schools, mostly the elementary schools, and move to that charter school. So we will know that hopefully after spring break. We'll be able to announce, and you know, of course, you know, parents are signing up for the lottery right now, so. At secondary, we'll have some reductions to about 8.7 teachers based on enrollment district-wide. And then investments. So Joy Elementary is one of our K-8s. Have you been to any of the K-8s?
Yes, I used to volunteer at Joy.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I haven't gotten a chance to this year, but definitely towards the end of the year. It's such an amazing school.
Yeah, they're doing great things. So we have 3 K-8s. We have Arctic Light and LAD and Joy. We gave additional teaching staff last year to Arctic Light and LAD, but we didn't with Joy. They were moving at a little bit slower pace. So this year I've allocated another teaching position to them. So, and then in terms of investments at secondary, I think we'll see this. You guys will probably talk about this in Juneau Career Tech Education. I think it's going to be a big topic.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, and the governor just proclaimed February as CTE
month.
month.
Right, yeah.
So it's a great time.
Just had that. So I think, you know, when you think again about governor's priorities and spending, even though, you know, there may be adjustments in one area, but I think Career Tech Ed is going to be supported. So we're seeing more and more students at the high school level that want Career Tech classes. So we're actually going to increase a little bit the number of teaching allocation at North Pole High and West Valley High for Career Tech Ed. So, and then some prevention intervention specialist positions. These are support staff that help with social emotional needs. We're going to increase that at North Pole High and North Pole Middle, and then also we're going to add one at Tickasuk Brown. So Tickasuk like Brown's a big school. Yeah,
Huge.
we have some huge elementary schools. I was with a middle school principal and an elementary principal, and the elementary principal was like, my school's almost twice the size of yours, right? I mean, we have some big elementary schools,
Yeah.
so we got to be sure and take care of those staff. So we're going to cut a few positions downtown in the administrative services department. I think the COO on Tuesday described it well. The more automated things,
More
you get more efficient, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have software to take care of these things. It used to be all this, okay, I'm using it probably wasn't, it was probably like this kind of data entry, right? But there's a point after which you just don't need that anymore. So, yeah, of course, on the other hand, you got to take care of your infrastructure, your
Right.
tech infrastructure. So on that note, one investment I'm making is a cybersecurity information officer. And so
Yeah.
I think
Especially with what happened in the other districts.
right.
It's
So
scary.
Matsu has struggled with this, right? Their borough almost completely shut them down. I mean, it was not good. Valdez has struggled. Some of these hackers demand huge ransoms, and so it's we have a ton of data. I mean, we've got lots of students, we have lots of employees. If you're interested in this topic, we'll decide what the topics for the work sessions are coming up, and we'll post them. But I anticipate technology will be one of the topics, so board members can really get
I
some
think
more
it's
information.
important too that you're gonna try to take that preventative piece instead of just the reactionary
Instead of
piece, where
reactionary, yeah.
insurance will take care of the reaction or the actual
Yeah.
afterwards, but that preventative piece is gonna save
Yeah.
the district a ton of money. in the
And
long
one
run.
thing we've been doing, we've started training our own staff
Yeah.
on just phishing scams, right? I mean, how many of those emails have you guys gotten on?
A lot.
Everybody's trying to buy me iTunes cards. Like, I just want to send out an email and say, I don't
Yes.
need any more iTunes gift cards. I'm good. So, yeah, but some people are just, they're like, oh, okay, somebody needs my information, or they're just, they're trying to do the right thing, so those are the big, here's an important investment that I've proposed. So of our support staff, our grade 5 secretaries for a long time, we feel like have been working in a job description that the pay doesn't match. So I am proposing that we do a reclassification and move them up to a little bit one higher grade level. So I think that'll be really important for them. We have other support staff we need to do that with, but I think we'll just kind of try to work on that over time.
And by
So-
moving them a grade level, you mean giving them a little bit of a raise?
Yeah, so they would have
Across the board.
so I guess with them it moves this way, but instead of being a grade 5, they would be a grade 6. So that would be a pay increase for them, and acknowledgement again of the work that they're actually doing, because our secretaries, some of these, the skill set that a secretary needs now is so high tech, right? I mean, they're doing such high tech work, and I think we want to be sure and acknowledge that. So. I mentioned this last time, couple unknowns, the governor's budget, so we got to be careful of that. The forward funding that was already committed to. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say I can't even imagine that the legislature would take away money from us this year. I mean, I feel like they really felt like they committed to that, and I think we should hold them to that. There'll probably be more conversation about next year, but again, I feel like they committed to that. We need to. And we've been counting on it, right? And so it's in this budget. So it is in this budget. So if we don't get that $3 million, we're going to be having a whole different conversation. So, and then the other thing is the borough. And so the board will have some good conversations, I think, about what the local contribution needs to be.
Yeah.
And where we need to go from there. And then we are in negotiations with all 3 bargaining units. So I have, I don't know what those labor costs are going to be. We we have trend data and things, and we'll talk about that. But we are going to have to add some more money to this budget.
Yeah.
So we need Juneau to do what it is they said they would do, and then we're going to have to talk to the borough and say, hey, you guys, you're going to have to look at our funding. So, okay, I think how about I switch to. At this point, the calendar, because the important thing about the calendar is that if people want to give input to the calendar, that opportunity ends tomorrow. So, and then the school board, I don't know if you've been through this yet. Have you been through
The calendar?
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So what we'll do is we do this survey, and we survey anybody who's interested, anybody in the community, and they'll tell us what they think. And the conversation is always about start date and end date, right? So there's always a lot of input there. I don't think we've made any major changes to professional development days, and we always try to keep Christmas, that 2-week break, so that it's easy on families to take vacations. So that doesn't change too much. But so then I'll look at it and I'll make a recommendation to you guys, and then you'll decide. So we put out 2 options for the calendar, so folks can weigh in on that. So if they're interested,
Where can they weigh in on that?
So that's on the website, www.k12northstar.org, and right on the banner on the top, there's a button for the survey that you could take. And Oh, and you put it on the link. And
There it is.
are there any open-ended comments?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a text box. So if you have ideas or something too, you could get that. We give all of that. We'll give it to the board in a report. And sometimes the surveys are just like really clear, like this is the first choice. Sometimes, we're trying to weigh, one thing against the other. So
Yeah, and the
So we'll
more
see.
open-ended answers and the more feedback, the more testimony that we get from the public, the better decision that we can make. So don't be quiet. Let us know.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to see the feedback. So parents have their lens, and then teachers have their lens, and we always check in with principals, and so it's good to get And then we check in with university, right? I mean, we try to we try to align with them. We also think a lot about the tourist season because so here's a great people say, oh, why don't we start after Labor Day, right? Well, then the tourist industry is like, hold on, like your employees and your students, help us and work for us. So let's have that conversation. So it's always interesting. I think one thing in the strategic plan that we want to talk about, and so we can talk about strategic plan now, is school start time. Yeah. And
Yes.
so I think I've seen input in different places, and the parent engagement committee, I'm looking at Sharice over there, talked about it a little bit, but high school start time, right? So I think if that's something the board would like us to really start digging into, so.
And I believe the school board member that's the student advisor, Alden Jerome, has a really good research done on.
He's done some work.
Yes,
Yeah.
on the
Great.
effects of kids starting at a certain time.
Yeah.
And I know that my daughter goes to high school and starts at 7:30 in the morning.
Early. Yeah.
So early.
Yeah.
So early.
We were hopeful that, it's always easier if another district kind of gets out there first, right? And Anchorage is the biggest district, right? So we were, I was hopeful that maybe they were going to make more of a change than we did, and then we could watch the process. But in the end, they didn't do very much tweaking at all. So we may have to, it's okay. I don't mind being out front if the community really, is interested in us doing a switch, and it's doable. It's absolutely doable. So I think, well, that parent engagement committee will be, they were kind of 50-50 split on it last time, weren't they?
Didn't talk a lot about the timing, so much more about the calendar.
Oh, we were talking more about calendar,
I tried to keep
not
them on calendar.
Oh, trying to focus on calendar, not start time, but it's definitely interesting to people. So, okay,
Again,
I'm
let us
watching
know.
my time here. So, so strategic planning will kick off. So actually, in 2 weeks, I've got principals coming in, and they're going to give input, and then all the program directors and managers here, executive directors. And then the school board will get all of that information. They'll get the public survey. They'll get all of that feedback. And then April 13th is when you guys do your work. So that will be great. And we have enough time that we've got it set up so principals can do some work with their staffs too. And so, because a lot of staff participated in the survey, so we can say, okay, here's what you guys, here's what staff think in the district. What does this mean for Joy Elementary? Like, what's your guys' take on that? What's Lathrop High School's take on that? What about Wayland Eielson? So anyway, I'm looking forward to it because I think it'll be really good. And I keep saying this over and over. So we have the strategic plan. We've checked off so many things. So this board is going to get the chance to set the course for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
It'll be pretty exciting.
New board, new plan.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. So we'll have to see. What ideas emerge. And I know each board member has ideas, and then little things will percolate just with community members, and again we'll get all that input. So, and then you guys know the strategic plan is really that helps me focus my work. And then I can say, all right, this is where we want our resources to go. This is how we want to spend our time. And so the only thing I still kind of have lingering, and we'll see if it shows up in the plan, is that K-12 model. So we did some pre-work, and now we're just kind of in pause mode, and we'll wait and see what the board thinks about that. And if the school board decides to, that they want us to keep going, we'll keep going. So, okay. So high school and middle school pre-registration. So parents out there, your kids are probably starting to think about what they want their classes to be. So, if you have an 8th grader that's moving to high school, they're probably starting their high school visits. And if they're in high school now, they're probably starting to work on their course requests. So I just wanted to mention that because sometimes parents don't know that, right? And we love it when parents are involved. So, yeah, and your daughter, what grade? Can I ask that? What grade she's going to be in?
She'll be a senior next year.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun. Okay,
So she's got a fun year ahead of her.
Yeah. Have you guys talked about her schedule?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. She's so excited, and we're one of the lucky ones. We get to take advantage of 2 schools. It's something that this district offers. So she's not only does she go to Lathrop, but she also goes to Hutch, and so we get the classes there's an endless list. Her problem is she can't decide which one she wants.
Right.
There's
Too
too
many
many.
options.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a great problem.
Especially for her senior year, right?
Yeah.
Trying to fit it all in before she goes. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, parents, I would just encourage you to ask your child or call the counselor and say, hey,
Yeah.
okay, I know this is happening. I want to be part of the process. So. Spring lotteries, that's another thing that's coming up. We have lots of schools of choice, and not just charter schools. Remember, we have magnet schools too, and they run lotteries as well. So now is the season for spring lotteries. So if you have a particular school in mind, go to that school's website. We have information on our website, like the Hutch Lottery is in process right now. Barnett always has a lottery. That'll pop up, and then all the charter schools. And the charter schools, and I think Barnett too, they all have meetings, right? They have parent meetings so they can explain their program and talk about, just answer questions from parents and things.
Right. So on the K12northstar.org website, there's pages for each school.
Right.
And then on those pages are the links to the lottery.
Links to the lotteries, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and some lotteries are done online, and then a couple of our charter schools actually still do hand lotteries. So we've got a little bit of a mix there. So, and the big, Discovery Peak, and they're running theirs early. So if you're interested in Discovery Peak, and you don't have to just live in North Pole, you can live anywhere. So if you're interested in Discovery Peak, get on that right away, because that'll be coming up. So how are we doing on time? Okay, we got a couple more minutes. So our annual school climate survey is coming up. So this is really a great survey. The board sees it, but where the power of the survey comes is when we give it back to the principals, because they get their school data, right? And they can see what their parents are saying, what their students are saying, what their teachers are saying, what their support staff are saying. And then as a school, they can really, say, okay, so we're doing great here. We need to do some work here. And then sort of as a district, we look at those big topics like safety.
Yep.
Instructional support, those kind of things. So
the board takes a really, really close look at that, though. That helps us make a lot of decisions from community members that may not have the time to testify or send in information.
Yeah.
That survey really drives our priorities.
Yeah. So students, we actually have students participate as well. Grades 5 through 12 are going to do this in February. And then the areas are engagement, safety, and then environment. So those will be big areas. What else? I think
There's a parent.
Oh, there's a parent. There's a separate parent and staff link that'll go out as well. So, and the feedback's anonymous. So you can be, you can be really honest. Don't be slanderous, but be honest about how you feel like things are going at your school or the district, as a whole. And again, some of those big topics like school safety and social emotional supports and personalized learning and schools of choice. People have lots of opinions about schools of choice. Weigh in on that. So.
Remind me, are there open-ended questions on that one as well that we have access to?
I don't think that one is. I don't think, that one's all quantitative data. So, and that, just so people know, that is based on and closely linked to a national school climate survey. So that, we can actually compare data with other, now I don't know if any other districts in Alaska do it, but with other districts in other states. So Ellis, our psychometrician, I love that title.
Great.
Dr. Ott, does a lot of analysis with that, and he tries to wade through the data and give principals some, kind of help them see what the high points and the growth areas are. So, okay, I think we are pretty close on our topics here. So, we talked. So great to spend time with Erin Morotti, right? New school board member. So again, you can email her directly, and her contact information is on the website. And then through budget season, any input people have on budget goes to the entire board. It's unfiltered. We just collect it, and then we just give it to the board about every 2 weeks so that they can see it. They have to make their decision on proposed budget by the Friday after spring break, so that's March 22nd. And then we get it all together, and then we have to send it to the borough by April 1st. So we have about 6 weeks.
Yeah,
I think,
6
to
weeks.
work on it. Yeah.
So if you have input, give it to us within 6 weeks so that we can incorporate that in our decision.
Yeah, and there's work sessions if you want to come to a meeting. There's work sessions, and you can give public testimony. And so be sure to look at the website. At any regular board meeting, you can testify regarding the budget. There's only, I think, 2 work sessions that you can give testimony. So just kind of be careful of your time if you want to actually, just watch that schedule. Oh, thank you. But written comments are there's always a piece of paper in the back. So we talked about the calendar for 2020, 2021. I almost can't even believe I'm saying it. Right? So if you want to give input on the school calendar, not for next year, but the year after, pre-registration is going on for our secondary students, so be involved with that. School lotteries, everything that happens in the spring, and then strategic planning. So watch for strategic planning, and we'll probably do a big sort of media blitz and report once the board is done and takes action and really highlight what those goals and objectives are going to be. So
that'll be in April.
Yeah, once you guys are done, so April 13th, and then it'll be on an actual regular meeting agenda for you to take action and approve it. And then once it's approved, then we will start the blitz. So by the end of the school year for sure. And then then I'll bring people back together and we'll start making plans for the next year. And then the annual school climate survey. So take that. We'd love to get your input on that. So, well, thanks. This is super easy and fun.
Thanks for having me. It's an
Yeah.
honor, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Well, we will definitely invite you back.
Great.
So, all right. Have a great week, you guys.
Bye.